crueldad, pero esta vez me separaron. Dijeron mucho, pero no se olvidaron de callarse. Cuánto odio por mi piel sembraron. Dijeron historia y la tergiversaron. Dijeron guerra, muerte, odio y nos culparon. Enfermedades, epidemias nos contagiaron. Exterminación de mi fauna complace a tus mercados. Dijeron riqueza y todo se lo robaron. Oro, platino, diamante, a la fuerza se lo llevaron. Y la actualidad es tan triste que todo aquello que dijeron es lo mismo que hoy se dice más. ¿Quién dice? ¿Quién explota? ¿Quién se beneficia? El asesino, el mismo que da las noticias. Hay una cuenta fácil que siempre me da las grandes riquezas, de dónde vienen y hasta dónde van.
Independiente como los Mao Mao, concluyente como los Mao Mao,
como los Mao Mao,
como los Mao Mao. Somos resistentes como los Mao Mao, independiente como los Mao Mao, concluyente como los Mao Mao,
como los Mao Mao,
como los Mao Mao. Somos resistentes como los Mao Mao. Nati Dre es afroresistencia, cultura ancestral, afrodescendencia, solidaridad. Esa es la esencia, la diáspora africana eleva la conciencia, conciencia negra, universal, progresista y transcultural. Negros y mestizos revolucionando, pueblos caribeños y africanos en un solo bando. No más explotación, colonialismo interno, no más confusión, supremacía blanca en el Babilón. Soy rojo, negro y verde, afroliberación. Mientras más negro, más represión. Somos creadores, recupera tu visión. Mi visión es educar con amor, contra el silencio, vivo sin temor. Independiente como los Mao Mao, concluyente como los Mao Mao,
como los Mao Mao,
como los Mao Mao. Somos resistentes como los Mao Mao, independiente como los Mao Mao, concluyente como los Mao Mao,
como los Mao Mao,
como los Mao Mao. Somos resistentes como los Mao Mao.
Y'all didn't even hear me. I was so loud.
I was about to get on you.
You know what I mean? That was like a dog whistle. You know how you just, you know what I'm saying? We can't hear them, but the freedom fighters can hear me. You know what I mean? Anyway, welcome to the Rise Up International Morning Show. Look who I found. We had him on the milk carton. It's been a minute. He's bald head last time I saw him. I look up, the man got it.
Don't even try it, brother. And I'm surprised to see you because they told me Kiana was going to be here. So I'm like, oh, but I'm just going to go with the flow.
Wow. I guess management got you misinformed, brother. It's the other K that's here today. You know what I mean? Kalonji Changa in the building alongside my brother, Dr. Ikemba Ojore. So Ikemba, check this out, man. I ran into a few people and they was like, you know, well, what kind of doctor is Ikemba? I said, the man teaches at Mega Evers. He's like, what does he teach? I was like, I don't know. So you can kind of let folks know who you are, where you come from, brother. They, you know, you got a little fan.
A reintroduction?
Oh, wow. I mean, you know, some people are new here, man. I mean, I know everybody already know you. You know what I'm saying? You like Mr. West, Kanye, or Cornell. It's all good, but I'm just trying to figure out, you know, you tell the people who you are, brother.
Yeah, no doubt, man. That kind of takes me back to when I went to the bank. Someone wrote me a check and they put doctor on there. The bank teller didn't want to cash the check right away. She started looking at me like, doctor. And then she asked me what kind of doctor I was. I said, wow, this is crazy. But anyway, I'm a professor of history. That's my background. I do have a master's degree in political science. So I teach, I'm going to say what my focus is, my dissertation focus. As far as like subjects I teach a variety of subjects, but my focus was on and still is on colonial education in Sierra Leone. So I was looking at the American mission schools in Sierra Leone that was sort of set up after the Amistad mission, or the Mende mission, I should say. But people were familiar with the Amistad case in the 1840s. What happened after that, they were trying to gather resources to get the Mende people back to Sierra Leone. And the Mende mission was created out of, so, you know, if you're familiar with some of the organizations at that time, the American Mission Association, which is kind of more familiarly known as setting up schools throughout the South. But they were in charge of the mission over in Sierra Leone. So long story short, I'm looking at those schools in the late 1800s, going into the early 1900s, particularly looking at the Albert Academy School for Boys. So I'll just say, like, as far as like what I teach though at Mega Evers is like American history, of course, from an African-centered perspective. I look at the civil rights movement in particular. I've taught classes on women in the civil rights movement, classes on African-American history and culture, world history. So yeah, just a variety of topics. So I don't necessarily just focus on one area at school.
Okay. See, they thought you was a doctor like Dre, you know what I mean? So you had to come back and let them know what you was doing around these parts. Anyway, no, that is it's excellent. Great to hear you hear what you're doing these days and have been doing. And it's in line with what's happening here today. Today we're going to be talking about African-centered schools, and this is actually a series that will be taking place on the Rise Up International Morning Show. And we'll be talking about schools not only here in the U.S. Of course, we have correspondents in France. We have folks over on the continent, in different parts of the diaspora, and we want to make sure that we highlight and focus some of the works and the energies that's going on and taking place home and abroad. But today, we have some real dope sisters here in Atlanta that I know, been known for a few ticks, you know what I mean? And they're going to talk about some things that they have going on and the importance of African-centered education and movement, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But we have, for folks who are new here, of course, this is Black Power Media. Rise Up International Morning Show is a real powerful show. We have a number of great people who hosts that join us on a regular. We've been OT for a minute, you know what I mean? But we AWOL a little bit, but we're back again. I want to, before we go to our guest, Ikemba, I want to give folks, we need a little bit of energy this morning. So I was thinking about some of our freedom fighters, because when we talk about education, part of education is identity. And I think, oftentimes we lack identity, particularly here in the US, because of the fact that we get confused. There's so many different formations and also distractions out here. You have folks arguing about whether they're African, whether they're African-American, whether they down with ADOS, whether they down with all this other nonsense. And I'm not trying to disrespect anybody's platform or program, but at the end of the day, these Europeans, this imperialist power structure don't give two damns about, who and what we think we are. You know what I mean? Because they're clear about who they are and their purpose. But I want to go to one of our guerrilla intellectuals real quick, and we're going to come back with our guests right here live on the Rise Up International Morning Show. Y'all stay tuned.
Africa. In San Francisco, on African Liberation Day, Brother Walter Rodney, an African historian, noted both the importance of African Liberation Day in terms of our African identity and some of the root causes for our problem of identification.
I have met brothers and sisters who say that their mother tongue, quote unquote, is French, Spanish, Dutch, Portuguese, as well as English, which we speak. And because of this, we have a problem of identification. We do not know whom we are. And that is why this gathering is of great symbolic importance, because it is an act of identification. We are saying that we identify with the African people of the African continent. We are saying that we are an African people. And when we make this identification, have no illusions about the fact that this is a very revolutionary initiative. It is a rejection of every other form of identification which the white society has asked us to accept. Let me draw your attention to something which white universities and white libraries practice. And this is a university community. Numerous universities lie around this land. You go into their libraries and check the Library of Congress cards. Under Europe or Europeans, you will find all entries listed concerning the continent of Europe. You will also find entries listed about Europeans in East Africa, Europeans in North Africa, Europeans in Asia and Australia. Look under the Chinese, you will find entries listed not only for mainland China, but for Malaysia and for the Chinese in North America. But look on the Africa and the Africans, the only entries on the Africans relate to the continent itself. There are no entries on the Africans overseas. There is no such category. Africans who have been raped from the continent mysteriously disappear and become Negroes.
There was our main man, Walter Rodney. Walter Rodney out of Guyana, a freedom fighter, what we call a guerrilla intellectual, who was assassinated in 1981. They used a car bomb to take this brother out. Very important individual, especially when we talk about our history, talking about education, so on and so forth. Well, what's your thoughts on what Rodney was talking about, Ikemba?
You know, as he was speaking, especially with that last statement he made, it took me back to two books, and I think I've mentioned this book maybe on this platform before, as far as me going on my journey to do a self-analysis and to gain a better understanding of where I came from, or my ancestors, where they are from. And it was the book, of course, From Dingus to Gods, and I know we've had this conversation, but it also took me to another book, Alfred Ali. I had to look up the author because it's been so long. 64 Years to Make a Negro. I don't know if you're familiar with that one. Yeah. So it's an old book. You don't really see it on the shelves anymore. But even, people disagree with the analysis in that book or whatever, there is historically, if you look at the history, when Africans were brought into this country, there was this process of breaking the African and turning them into something else. And they have a term for that, right? Like seasoned Africans, right? There were saltwater Africans and seasoned Africans. So this was happening in the Caribbean way before, well, not way before, relatively speaking, but before the enslaved Africans were brought into the United States in 1619, right? So there was this process of turning the African into something else. And that's what the education system in America is designed to do, is to make sure that African remains other than African. That's just, a few thoughts that I have on that.
No doubt.
We can keep talking, but I think we got guests that can really go into that. So
no doubt. Yeah. And I'm just, and also just, just thinking about how young, because I think that one of the things as freedom fighters, as historians, as researchers, whatever the case is, oftentimes we forget how young some of these folks were. You talk about Walter Rodney. Walter Rodney was assassinated, 36, 38 years old? You know what I mean? So these a number of these folks never saw age 40. Folks like El Hajj Malik Shabazz, folks like, Chairman Fred, folks like Martin, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Che Guevara, you know what I'm saying? France Fanon, these brothers, Patrice Lumumba, they never saw, 40 years of age, but yet their wisdom continues to shine through. And I think part of it is because of, their education being political education or just African studies as a whole. Without further ado, we have 4 sisters that I've been knowing for over 20 years at this point. And I can, without a doubt, testify and bear witness that they've been consistent, their families have been consistent, And really, to be quite honest with you, me coming in as an outsider to Atlanta, right? Their families are literally staples to the quote unquote revolutionary nationalists, or the new African community here in this particular area, which many of us have, choose to call RBG, Rap Brown, Georgia. And shout out to Imam Jamil. I understand he has, we just got another report saying he has 3 months to live. He is the reason that I came to Atlanta. One of these guests, their parents are the reason that I stayed in Atlanta. You know what I mean? I've been gone a long time ago, but I'm here. I came for Imam Jamil, and we've been getting all kinds of reports that he was. We got 9 months to live. We got, now they're saying 3 months, and it's something that we're not ready for. But anyway, without further ado, I want to bring on Princess Medaya. Peace. What's going on? Y'all may recognize her because she has a show on a platform called Daughters of the Whirlwind. You know what I mean? And she's on this side of the fence today, acting like she brand new, like, you know what I mean? But it's all good. We're gonna interview her today. But we also have a sister Ayenda Kanyama, and we've had her Umi on the platform a while ago talking about her powerful book, which we have in our political education series, Mama Tamu, and also her father, Baba Ikemba. We also have Shia Moja and Kanda, who we've also known for quite a minute. We've had her father on the platform a few different times. Baba AK, we will shoot back, so that means that apparently Tashia probably gonna shoot back too, so you might not know. And just in case you disagree with her, she said, you know what I mean, I ain't coming by myself, I'm bringing my mama. I'm not in the building today. Welcome to the platform. How y'all feeling today?
Feeling
Great.
good.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you.
It is, like I said, I've been knowing y'all for a while, and I want to say it's an honor to have you on here. I feel like we made it. You know what I mean? All the other guests we had, you know what I'm saying, they was just guests, but y'all here today, so it's gonna be all right. I brought it. Said what you say, Mom?
I said that's funny.
I'm just trying to keep it a buck. I brought Brother Ikemba on for backup, just in case y'all need to go upside somebody's head. Y'all can start with him. You know what I'm saying? But what I would like to do, because of the fact that sometimes you know people, the work they do, so on and so forth, and we take for granted that because or you're familiar, that the rest of the world is. So what I would like to do, rather than read your bios like y'all just some random guests, I would like you to tell our audience about who you are, what you do, and a little bit about the schools that you represent. And we could do it clockwise, counterclockwise, however y'all want to get down.
Elders first.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I want to start with the Kilombo prayer and libation.
Please. Yes,
Creator of all things, both mother and father, known by many, many names. Asante Sana, thank you for this day. Asante Sana, thank you for creating us in your image. Asante Sana, thank you for giving us minds to think, bodies to move, and spirits to rejoice. Help each of us contribute to the unity of this place. Help us to be kind and help us to be kind in word and deed as we move closer to the liberation of our people. Upendo na Uhuru, love and freedom. Ashe. Oh, ancestors, blacker than the skies at midnight, brighter than the noonday sun, and all the beautiful shades of Africa in between, field hands, house servants, teachers, preachers, factory workers, freedom fighters, those who resisted in silence, those who resisted out loud, those whose bones are on the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean, those who chose to survive. Great ancient priests, warriors, and mystic scientists, give us the inspiration to fight 1,000 lions. Give us the enlightenment to unravel the mysteries of the universe. Give us the sustenance to travel through the trackless swamps of disharmony. Praise be your Black African names. Help us in this time of need. Ashe. We call on our personal ancestors, and we call on our national ancestors. And now that we're all here, we're ready to begin. Okay. So I didn't call on everybody because we could go on and on and on.
Hey, listen.
And they start pretty strong.
Huh?
I said the show starts pretty strong. It's a pretty strong shout out to some pretty powerful
and you already called on Walter Rodney and several people. So we, you know, we are ready to begin. So my name is Aminata Umoja, and I'm a founding member of the New African Peoples Organization and the Malcolm X Grassroots Movement. And out of that movement was born Quilombo Academic and Cultural Institute, right? And we began at First African Church. So we are actually a product of movement and our collaboration with an African-centered church. And then Quilombo was born out of that. I have been an educator for 45 years. I am also a woman that believes in the complete liberation of women, right? So I'm a Black womanist, or, you know, an African womanist, or an African feminist. You know, there's a whole lot of labels that are thrown around. But I guess one of my most important things outside of my beautiful family is I love Black people. And these young women on here with me, man, they come from a legacy of loving Black people. You know, I'll let them talk about their own legacy. I won't talk about it. But they too love Black people. But Chokwe Lumumba used to say, if you don't love the people, you will betray them. And I think that is an important place to start, that we have to love African people and we have to love African children and stop sending them to the enemy. Like it doesn't matter, because it does matter. And our children are under attack. I was on a show the other day and explained that the National Assessment of Educational Progress, and people can say, oh, well, you know, that's a white man's test. Yeah, but there's some basic stuff everybody needs to know. Everybody needs to know that 3 times 3 is 9. Everybody needs to know that. Everybody needs to know how to read cat. Everybody needs to know that. So they do get us. There's no doubt about it with the cultural bias. But some basic stuff, oh, we should be tearing it up. And we're not. 14% of Black 8th graders read on a level of proficiency, which means that most of our children can't read. Because either they're 1 year behind or 3 years behind, and we talking, drinking, driving, and dining, and passing stuff, and don't realize that our children are in danger. And it is our children are a gift from God. We must take responsibility for them. It is time, right? And we got to stop playing around about it. We need African-centered schools throughout. Okay, but I'll stop there and let other people talk.
Hey, Mama Aminata, I don't even know what anybody else gonna have to say after you said what you said. And I'm gonna keep it a buck. I've been knowing Mama Aminata for decades, and this is the first time I just literally stopped and heard and felt the fire. I'm about to take this hat off in a minute because it's gonna melt. You know what I mean? But I'm trying to tell you what God loved, the truth. But you know, definitely appreciate you giving us that libation and that orientation, so folks can be familiar with what they're about to face. Who's up next? They're making it hard.
That would be me.
Okay,
that would be me. I am Ayinda Kenyama. I am the child of the revolution in many ways. My grandmother was foundational in the Nation of Islam, which gave birth to my father, Brother Ikemba, and his ex-queen, Sister Tamu, both members of the Republic of New Africa. And this is the legacy that I was born into, the work that I was born into, and I happily accept the challenge. For 17 years, I've been the director of Tamu Sana Kenyama Preparatory Academy of Creative Arts and Media Technology, where we do focus on African-centered education. I think a lot of times when people think about what that means, that takes on so many different roles and so many ways in which you can deliver a powerful educational platform, but we are a high school. So it is our job to turn these young people out into the community ready to take their place. And that doesn't just mean culturally, it means culturally, academically, socially, financially, to lead us into the next era, whatever that may be. And so it's our job to help them operate from a place of power. to empower them in every way that we can. So by teaching from an African-centered point of view, they know who they are, and they're able to walk out of our doors and into the world prepared to lead the way.
Right on, right on, right on. We definitely appreciate that.
Yes, I don't have speeches like my mom and Nada.
That is so not true. Did you? I was just about to text you and say, "Go on and kick that knowledge." Is that what it is? No, it's drop that science, kick whatever it is.
Either one, it works. It works.
Whatever you want it to be, it's going to be that. We don't care. Drop the knowledge, kick the science. You know what I'm saying? Whatever it's going to be, we ain't going to accept it.
Yes,
man. But excellent. I ain't never see. I ended so hype either. This is a special morning.
Oh, I guess we going by age order. He just put me there.
I think that's what's happening.
So, yeah, you know, shalom, everyone. All praises to the Creator for this moment. Humbled to be here. I am, the daughter of Fulani and Bilal Sunni Ali. My legacy carries from generations. My grandfather was one of the founding members of the Republic of New Africa. My great-grandmother was part of the Garveyites. And my parents were legacy builders, community activists, movement builders. My father was one of the founding members of the notorious Harlem and Bronx chapter of the Black Panther Party. My mother was a Black Panther, part of the Black Panther Party in the Boston area. And also they were both known and honored to be New Africans in the Republic of New Africa, citizens of New Africa. And so carrying that legacy, you know, is truly the main reason why I'm here today, you know, to do this work. My husband and I, my husband had a vision, and then he asked me to carry out the vision. And the vision was to formulate a Hebrew school, a Hebrew African-centered, movement building, community organized, community motivated school. And so that's what we've done. We're like infants to these illustrious schools here, Kilombo and TSK. This is our 5th year. We are a virtual school. We teach our students from pre-K to 12th grade. And one of the things that Allende stated, and I want to echo, is that the true concept of these educational institutions is to help build our children to become phenomenal adults, to become phenomenal movement shakers, and, you know, philanthropists, doctors, lawyers, teachers, educators on so many levels, you know, because the one thing that we do know is when you go into different educational systems that are not for us, that are not like us, they do not promote self-empowerment. They do not promote self-determination. They do not promote even self-love. So part of our mission is to be able to give our children that, so that when they walk out of the doors of our schools, they know that they not only are walking out as graduates of these illustrious institutions, but walking out with a whole community, a whole family, and a village to carry them forward. They're walking out knowing that they stand on the shoulders of so many who have given, who have dedicated their life to their lives being prominent, being blessed, being, you know, promoted to be greatness. So when I look at education, and believe me, this year has probably been the most enlightening year of my life dealing with this school, because you learn so much, you know, you in the beginning, which Mama Aminata and Tashia and Allende can testify to this. It's almost defeatist, because you're like, dang, how are we gonna do this? You know, it's a lot of struggle. But this year, I have truly embraced this process, and I you know, I raise my hat, I take my headscarf off, you know, my tavul, to all those who came before me in the steps of being an educator. You know, it's an important role. It's a role that so many do not or just take advantage. You know, they don't honor it in the way that it should be. And this has truly humbled me to be in this position. And so I give thanks for this opportunity, and thank you again.
No, definitely. That was on point. We got last but not least.
Last but not least, I'm little sis.
You and I are the same age. Everybody else, I understand.
Very nice. So we're both 40, maybe?
Yeah.
We can stay there for a while. No.
Yeah.
So I am Ojore Changa. I am currently the director at Kilombo Academic and Cultural Institute, and obviously the daughter of Aminata and Akinyele Ojore. So just proud to be able to take their legacy and continue to build on it. I had the pleasure of coming up like my big sisters, right, through movement. As a New African Scout, right? Me and the Fool got to be New African Scouts together, going to Camp Mzikos, going to Black Nation Days. Oh my gosh, y'all remember Black Nation Days, you know. So our reality was shaped in a different kinds of way, right? We didn't have a traditional path in this country. And I would say that it gave us a different foundation, but gives us a different outlook. And therefore we decided that we needed to create these alternative realities for other children, that it is the most foundational way, the most groundbreaking way to organize to a reality that isn't America, that isn't American systems, that isn't oppressive systems, right? And so our generation is now looking like, okay, how do we do something different? And schools is how we're seeing is the best way to not just organize children and shape their minds to be the vanguard, right? But whole families and whole communities. So it's exciting to have 20 years as Kilombo Academic and Cultural Institute. We're celebrating 20 years this year, and to do it with my sisters, right? With the young people of our generation, and the institutions that we have individually started sewing into, but collectively supporting, right? It's been amazing that we have children that have been to each other's schools, right? Students who matriculate out of Kilombo and go to TSK, go to Goshen, so that we can continue to build them, so that they can really be at the vanguard, so they can really leave us and go out into the world and do movement. And so for Kilombo, 20 years in, we've been able to release these children, and then they come back and they still doing movement. They still doing Camp Mziko, New African Scouts, Malcolm X grassroots movement, figuring out where they can do the work and continue the vision.
That's a powerful and very beautiful thing. It's honored to witness the growth and to see your children grow, because you know it's crazy, because I see some of your children and they be like, "Hey, Baba Kalonji." I'm like, who's this grown man or grown lady with more hair on their face than me talking about some Baba Kalonji, taller than me and all that type of stuff? So it's like it is a beautiful thing. I'm gonna start off. Ikemba has some questions. He's over there, you know, looking like Walter Rodney Jr. So he's gonna get the program started, and we'll take it from there.
No comment on that one. But peace. Thanks for joining us this morning. And I know you guys have a powerful program later today that you are going to speak on. But I guess we can start off just the sort of your thoughts on why African-centered education is so important, particularly in the context, right, of when I look at it, settler colonialism. I'm thinking, and I actually pulled up the miseducation of the Negro, and maybe we can build on that, because I think it's such an important text. But he opens up chapter 1, and you all probably familiar how he opens the chapter up. But he says the educated Negroes have the attitude of contempt toward their own people, because in their own as well as in their mixed schools, Negroes are taught to admire the Hebrew, the Greek, the Latin, and the Teuton, and despise the African. So I'll stop there And maybe you can build on that and just talk about why it's so important that we have these schools.
Well, I'm sitting right here, so I'll jump in and just say that I love what you just framed from my brother Carter G, right? And it is that we have to fall in love with ourselves. Ma'afa did a job on us, right? We can't dismiss how deep enslavement was, how deep Jim Crow was, how deep it was for us to have to change our names and not speak our languages, right? And so then when we're starting to build fresh out of enslavement, right? I want to say there was 100 schools in Black communities a year after enslavement was legally ended. We're still fresh out of this extremely oppressive space. So it's taken us a while to be able to relearn ourselves, who we are. It's so beautiful to look at all the names up here, right? It was our parents, right, who were in movement, who said, you know what? We don't need to wear their names anymore. So it's not until the 60s that we really decide, the 60s and the 70s, that no, we need to take our names back. We need to relearn our languages. We need to relearn our traditions and our cultures. And so now they started making those decisions. And so now we get to say, now that we've grown up in it, now that we've learned it and seen it, now we can see clearly what our people need, right? And so it does so much to empower us. We do so much that doesn't benefit us. We do so much that doesn't venerate our ancestors. We do so much that builds the system that continues to oppress us, right? And so African-centered education starts to disrupt that discourse. But then obviously just building institutions that are for us, by us, means that we're also employing ourselves, right?
Yes.
That we are creating spaces where we get to not be oppressed, where we get to show alternative visions of our empowerment, our invention, our love, right? Everything that the media is pushing that Black is a lie, right? And so then we get to shape our children's minds with the alternative discourse that now we're brilliant and our traditional systems are brilliant and our traditional names and culture and all of those things are not only brilliant, but they are what is universally foundational and true, right? And so it's important on every conceivable level, academically, spiritually, physically, in every way.
Anyone?
So do we just jump in? How should we?
Right, because I was going to say.
Yeah,
I was going to say,
Danny.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm gonna let you go.
I think she has an appointment, so I'm gonna let her jump in.
Okay, sure. So I think that it's really important to know that there are levels to this thing, right? And being that I'm in a position as a high school director, I think it's awesome and so inspiring to get students who have matriculated through other African-centered schools and they come in ready to get that next level. But all too often we get students who've never identified themselves as African or never understood any power in being that or associating with that. For me, honestly, that's some of the most important work that we do as African-centered educators. We're able to, first of all, our first 2 weeks of school, we go, who identifies as an African, right? And the room is quiet. You got 2 or 3 students who maybe came from Quilombo or maybe even came from, a homeschool setting. But the vast majority of students that we bring in, well, not the last couple of years, but generally has been from outside of an African-centered community. And they're like, this is, well, I'm African-American and da-da-da-da. Because at that time, what they know as African is so limited. So when we talk about bringing education, sometimes it's going backwards to bring them forward. It's making sure that they understand what that even is, to want to associate it with that, to have pride in it, to hold it tight, to hold it as something precious. So that process of African-centered education, when it can begin at a Quilombo, at a Goshen, at an early age, it does so much to further that legacy. And then coming in at high school, we're able to be flexible. Because being African-centered also means being nurturing. It means meeting them where they are and making sure that they get, no matter what level they come in at, that they leave with that same empowered energy. And that we're able to merge that into that same math, science, history, and whatever other courses they need to still progress on to whatever collegiate levels they'll go to, or out into the workforce. All of that is done in that magical space we call African-centered education. So for me, that has been so empowering for myself, for my children, and the extended parts of my family to be able to continue this work.
Right on. Definitely.
All right, I'd love to chime in.
Please do.
So let me do that, right? We were talking about colonization. Well, if you're going to colonize the people and keep them colonized, teach them. And that is what has happened to us. All right. So the public school system, its whole point was to maintain the status quo. And the status quo is white supremacy, and everyone of color is inferior. The status quo is patriarchy. The status quo is classism. So even when you're talking about white children, you know, they're not treated well in the public school system, right? So Baba Asa Hilliard talks about the importance of our socialization. Well, unfortunately, we're being socialized in schools that teach us that Black people and other people of color are inferior. And we hear that from kindergarten up, really from the age of like 3 up, that we're inferior. And we also hear that America is great. America is outstanding. So we say the Pledge of Allegiance every day. We sing America the Beautiful. And then even when our minds start opening up to there may be a different way, you know, maybe Black people are excellent too, we start feeling uncomfortable, right? Because they have socialized us so much that whenever we hear a word that is revolutionary, whenever we hear a word that talks about throwing off the colonizer, we're a little bit uncomfortable. When we talk about how Black people are Africans, we're a little bit uncomfortable. Why? Because we've been taught from the age of 3 that we are inferior and that women are inferior. So what does the African-Centered School do? Oh man, it breaks that lie apart. And it teaches our children to think critically, right? It teaches our children to read, to analyze, to compute, to problem solve. It gives them the tools they need to be nation builders. Because a part of America's schooling is their own nation building, right? So we go to school in the United States and we're taught to love America and build America. You know, and I always say to myself, be positive, Amanada, be positive. And so I am trying to be positive, but I have to say this. You Africans celebrating the 4th of July, Halloween, Christmas with a Christmas tree, and I'm a follower of Christ, I'm just saying, right? You're practicing white nationalism, but you don't know it because you've been taught that your whole life, right? So what we're doing is throwing those shackles off. Okay, so let me just step back. If you celebrating those things, you know, I still love you because I love all Black people, right? But as you grow in this journey to be a revolutionary, and that is the only healthy response to America is revolution. That's the only healthy response. Whether you're talking about new African land in this country and liberating that, whether you're talking about repatriating to Africa, I'm not going to say one is superior to the other. I'm a new African, but I'm not going to say that, right? Whatever you're talking about, you must be talking about America completely changing. Because as long as that devil is surviving, we're all in jeopardy. We're all in jeopardy. So what does an African-centered school do? Well, let me just say this, right? I remember when we first started the school, we were in a small house. And Mama Ayo and Kita Mayala was our founding teacher, and she was there with Sister Atiba. And I remember thinking, and by this time I had been educated for 25 years, right? in public school. And I remember thinking, wow, how did we get all the gifted children? How did that happen? All these children gifted. And then I realized that was my own colonization. They weren't gifted. They just regular Black children, but they were in a space where they were loved. And of course, all our children are gifted. So that was able to come out, right? Because they were loved and taught and expected to behave well and expected to academically do an excellent job. We got to be talking about nation building. And that is what an African-centered school talks about.
Wow. Y'all got me charged over here. I'm gonna just tell you that right now. And I'm gonna have to have y'all in here regularly. Y'all gonna get tired of me. You know what I'm saying? They'd be like, I'm self-critical, and I'm literally, like, all jokes aside, you know, I crack my jokes, but you know, I'm self-critical because of the fact that this gathering is necessary. What you all are doing, just as not only as educators, not only as Black women, but as freedom fighters, the role and the task you're taking, I want to, not that you need any props or accolades for me. I'm just saying that knowing you all this time, my respect has increased just based off of having the opportunity to see you all in community together, because oftentimes the reality is, you know, I see us all amongst men, and usually the men talk the most, and we do the least. But you know what I'm saying? You know, keeping it a buck. You know, but we like to dictate. That's the reality. I know that Diane, you know, I'm sure you have something to add on to that. But one of the questions I would like to pose next, along with what your response is the importance, because we have a clown show. And in this clown show, when I'm in the streets, when I'm on the road or traveling, the thing I hear most is, there ain't no sisters in the movement. Where the African sisters at? Where the women revolutionaries at? And they respectfully, they call on the same people, you know, of course, and we love, you know what I'm saying, and rising power to Auntie Mama Asata, you know what I'm saying? But most people don't know, part of my English allow me to say this, they don't know jack shit about Asata. You understand what I'm saying? But they talk about I'm her daughter, I'm her niece, nephew, her dog's babysitter, all types of other things. But in the reality, it means nothing. It becomes symbolism. And then they talk about Angela, but you don't hear them talk about certain women, because the fact that, not that they don't necessarily want to talk about them, but they don't know. Because if you're not involved in something, then you're asked an ignorant question like, where are the women at? I don't know where they hang at, but we've never had a problem with that. But I want to pose a question as to how important in this nation building process, because what you are, Joy James talk about, I can't think of the term right now. I'm gonna get back to it. But basically, you know, you all are natural nurturers, nurturers by nature. How important is that nurturing spirit of being a revolutionary Black woman in this whole educational process? We know you're the first teacher, but sometimes that sounds cliche. How important do you all feel it is in this particular nation building process? And we'll start with Afua and take it from there. Or Mom, Princess Nadia. Excuse me, folks.
Wow. Just listening to everybody, you know, speak, it really brought to mind a conversation I actually was having with my cousin Ayenda yesterday about my particular school. Because we're a Hebrew school, you know, that label Hebrew, it's labels automatically shut people's mind off to understanding who you are. When I first came into this way of life, I came in as a new African, as a Republican, a citizen of Republic of New Africa, When I met Hebrews, that I told them I'm a movement child. I'm a Panther Cub, all the titles that come with who my parents were, right? And they was like, they talked against it. They was like, oh, and we not African, all these things. And so I was telling my cousin yesterday how I feel like the Creator placed me in this particular position to be able to teach those who call themselves Hebrew Israelites. I'm not really, I don't like to label myself that terminology, because I think, when I look out at labels, the imagery is what gets people caught up.
Right.
So I feel like my job, particularly at my school, is to open up those minds who are closed off to being like, oh, we not African, we just Hebrew, not understanding that it was all one big continent. Before
Right.
certain people took certain movements and shifted us, right, and caused different shifts to take place on this earth. So I honestly feel privileged to be able to continue to carry on the legacy and teach those who never heard of Marcus Garvey, Malcolm X, to the point of El Hajj Malik Shabazz. They only know Malcolm X or Malcolm Little, right? They've never heard of Betty Shabazz. They've never heard of Toussaint L'Ouverture, to the degree that we were taught who these people were. I remember growing up in my house, I'm talking about life-size statues not statues, portraits of Malcolm X and Marcus Garvey. Mm-hmm. My daughter said on one of our podcasts, she was little, my oldest daughter. She said when she would look at the picture of Malcolm X and say, oh, when I grow up, I'm going to marry him. Not knowing who he was, but she just knew he was someone important, someone that she admired through the fact that she was taught, hey, she heard the name consistently, right? And so I find it an honor to be able, that the Creator has chosen me to sit in a position at a Hebrew school. And I tell people I'm a new African Hebrew. I'm a Hebrew that, I'm about this revolution. And so I'm going to teach it to whomever is in the midst of me. And one of the things that I love about it is that my husband, whom he also converted to, Hebrewism years ago, but when we met, and he had already had a vision about freeing the land. But when we met, it was like it was like, one of them science projects when it just burst. And so it was just like, I was like, okay, yes, he supported everything, every idea that he knew I came from. He didn't try to shut it down. And he was like, and I want you to teach it, and he would have long conversations with my father. And I say all this to say was, when we started the school, I brought my father into the school. My father would play his music every year at our annual, I'm getting emotional, at our annual awards programs, and this last year was the first one that he wasn't able to perform at. And then I brought my sister in, my youngest sister, Dr. Asantewa. She's our director of education, and she teaches Africana studies at our school, yes, and drama. It's important for me that we did this. And then not only that, my two daughters, Ama, Tahura, and Ezenwanyi, were our founding teachers. I let people, like, they came in ready. They helped design the logo. They helped formulate the anthem of Goshen Hebrew Academy at Temple Kifarim. And so I really look at our school and say, even though we are titled a Hebrew school, our foundation is New African-Centered. Because everything that we have in us is going to come out, and we're going to teach those, so that now, I even had a parent text me. She said, is this your mom? Oh my gosh. Like, I can't believe I'm sitting in the midst of such legacy. I didn't even know I would ever even meet a person whose parent was a Black Panther, and for me, of course, that's like, oh, okay. Then I'm just like, wow. Like, I start to think like, no, we really have to educate our people. Right. Something you said, Kalonji, is, people know certain names, but they don't know the names of the people who aren't necessarily propelled into the public figure eyesight on that level, right? But it's our job though to allow them to know those names, to get to teach them not just the name but the history and where it came from. Like, it's a long line of that history. These people, none of these figures that we admire and that we love and we call on, they didn't just pop up out of the dirt saying, hey, I'm a revolutionary. Even their parents, if they were a Garveyite, that was a revolutionary. You know,
Sure.
when we look at Malcolm X, his parents was Garvey. That's revolutionary. But a lot of people don't understand even Marcus Garvey, so they wouldn't be able to respect that aspect of that lineage, that legacy. And so for me, and tying into your question about the Black woman being acknowledged in this movement, for me, being a woman, being a daughter of a powerful woman, you know, one thing that I learned from my mother was to walk with your head high, to walk in a room like you own that room, because you do in so many ways. You only know your own story. You hold the power that is within you to bring it out. And so that's what I carry from my mother. And she was a strong woman in the movement. You know, my mother was leading the army at different times, you know, in the Republic of New Africa. She was doing things that in those times men didn't want to see. But she stood on business, as they say now, right? She stood on business and said, I'm going to handle this. I'm going to do this. And not only that, but she had the support of her father, of my father, you know, and it's important for women to have the support of their husbands, their brothers, their fathers, other brothers in the community to say, hey, sister, I trust that you're going to take this position that you have and move it and bring our children along. Because as you said, we're the nurturers. So we're the ones who are going to grab up the children and say, okay, while I'm feeding you, I got to teach this. And while you're teaching that and you're feeding them, they're learning. You know, and so that's the part of the nurturing. That's our job. And part of the balance that we have to find as women is when we are teaching and we're either nursing our children on our breast, or we're feeding them food, we're prepping dinner as we're having meetings, all the different things that we do as women. You know, it strengthens us when we have men, our men particularly, to say, hey, I support you, here you go. And I can tell you now, for me, it's a strength, it's a boost that I have a husband that says, hey, I know the power that you hold and I'm not here to hold you back. You know, we have levels of it, but he's like, this is your position. Go with it, do it, fly, do what you need to do. And so having that encouragement, having that support allows me to be able to have the voice, the strength, the courage, and even go even further and further to nurture, to educate, and to even collaborate with my sisters and our mama here to build in these institutions. You know, like they actually inspire me to go harder and harder with my school. Because believe me, a year ago I was like, I'm good. But then I started talking to Ayenda. She was like, no, you're not. And then my mom and I said, no, we're not closing these schools. We got to keep these schools open. And even though they didn't know the things I was struggling with, those words encouraged me to keep going, you know. And it's just important that we look at the foundation of everything that we're doing, because it is, women are you know, to quote the Bible in the very beginning, the Most High, he formed man first, but then he said, I have to form woman to be a helpmate to you, because he knew that the man was going to need help. And so when we're here, that's what we're doing. We're helping. And he gave us our own wisdom about it and our own fortitude to project and to say, okay, man, I see what we can do with this, what you have here. Let me take this and take it here. You know, so
the next level.
Huh?
Now I'll say to the next level, right?
So, you know, I appreciate definitely that question, because it is important. And it is something that, you know, it is a lot of times I hear people say, oh, there's no women in this movement, or they only want to, you know, a lot of people like to idolize or romanticize the women in the revolutionary movement, not understanding that there's nothing romantic about being a revolutionary. but it's real. It's real, you know.
Yeah.
So I think that's it for me for now.
I want to say real quick.
You think?
I want to say.
Is there still time to address this question?
Yeah, absolutely. No, we gonna go over unless y'all just got something to do.
Okay. I actually do, but I that question, and I'm usually not the talking point. I'm usually, playing the back only if addressed directly. But this particular question so fills my heart. It's very personal to me about how women are showing up in this community, because as a child, I was always asked what you want to be when you grow up, and I would answer a mommy. And I had teachers, men, women, Afrocentric people tell me, well, what else do you want to do? I mean, how you want to make your money? Like, what do you want to do? And I was thrown off by the responses of people because my mother, Sister Tamu, told me as a very young child and always through that the most important job in the world was being a mother. She had a very difficult time becoming a mother in the midst of this struggle. If you don't know the story, read the book. However, my mother took a plane every month for almost 2 years in order to try and conceive a child, because it was that important to her, with a political prisoner, I might add. Right. And she did that. And that thing was me. Right. So for me, motherhood is it. That's the answer. And the beauty of running an African-centered school is that I get to do that generation after generation after generation. And some of the most powerful women that I leaned on as a mother will never be in books that are not written by their friends, right? They built this movement. They are the framework. They didn't get on stages because they was in the back cooking. Mama Kaina Gafour. I promise you, she did my books at TSK when we first opened. She did the books at my sister salon. She did the books for the RNA. This sister has been working so hard, but her name doesn't appear on any stage offerings or plaques. It's the work that she did. Mama Maimuna Ricks held us down the first 2 years, helping our staff get insurance and things like that. And while her name is very big in the world, Mama Power, Mama and Jerry Elgani, I am, one of my claims to fame is, of my new African comrades, I was the first mother. Those older than me, those slightly younger than me, I was the first mother. I had many days that I broke. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to move and still be relevant to our movement. And those who have followed me and know my life for about 10 years, I disappeared doing any community work, because these women allowed me to know it was okay to invest right there with my children, to make sure that was my investment for the next generation. They supported me. They talked to me about mothering. They helped me plan menus of how to make sure my children were eating correctly. And so for me, that is such an important question, because it's often not even addressed. Nobody thinks about the power of that feminine energy because it's almost invisible. It's magic. Right? It shows up, it supports us, it pushes us through, and yet we often don't acknowledge it. It's like women are the most high in every space, right? We show up and get the work done, and our energy needs to be renewed. So the most important thing about things like working with these young ladies is that we get to empower each other. We get to acknowledge how we come to the table. We get to say, it's okay. Don't close your school tomorrow, because I know you're frustrated. The money is going to come, and so we acknowledge each other and the greatness of the work we're doing. That's important so that we can continue to pour in the way that we do and the way that other sisters do that won't be on the podcast.
I just want to say, for folks that don't know y'all, usually when I see y'all quiet as a mug. Yeah, so y'all saying like we gonna quote the prophet Ludacris and say they open up a can of whoop ass.
Not the prophet. Okay.
Right. I meant prophet, PROFIT. But anyway, I want to give pose that same question. Forgive me, and that's I'm just like, I'm really, you all are so necessary, and I can say, just as someone who has been making attempts to do something with our people, if it wasn't for Black women, man, I'd have quit a long time ago.
And if I can interrupt and just say, for a full dissertation, go to YouTube, revolution without women ain't happening. Aminata Umoja, right?
Okay.
So
Okay.
she's been talking this talk, right, and preaching this sermon for decades.
We need her to have a show on this platform. I don't know. So
yeah, and I'd like to say that it's very important that women feel that they can follow whatever the Creator has called them to do. You asked about nurturing. Brothers need to learn how to nurture. Okay, I do not believe in rigid gender roles. I believe that the Creator, whatever you call the Creator, Allah, Jehovah, Oludumare, Yahweh, Maulisa, whatever you call the Creator has put something in your heart to do, and we have to listen to that. And don't be limited by the rigid gender roles that we've been taught in the United States. I'm great with men staying home and taking care of their children. And I believe that families have to figure out what way works best for their family. I am totally against people believing they have to play a certain role because they were born either female or male. Now, men and women are different, absolutely. But men and women are equal. And our women are still getting their asses kicked. In 2025, our women are still being called out their names, still being popped, still asking their husbands for permission. All that has to end. All of that is a part of colonization. Patriarchy helps to support our colonization. Our women, going all the way back to Hatshepsut and Asantewaa and Nzinga, they have always been warriors, right? So, one of my brother Kwame Kalamara is, I feel like he nurtures our whole community. He remembers my mother's birthday. He remembers Tashia's birthday and Chinua's birthday. He is so loving. And a lot of people would say that's feminine. No, it needs to also be male, right? So we are basically socialized. I'm not saying we're not different, because we're definitely different. When Tashia was born, when she was born, she was able to sit up and stuff. She sat a certain way. She moved a certain way. When I had my son Chinua, he moved a whole nother kind of way. It was a completely different energy. So Tashia climbed out of the crib. Chinua dove out of the crib. Just born completely different. Now, I don't think that my son believes that you're born with a feminine energy or male energy, but he's the one that taught me that. I used to think it was completely socialization. Now I know it's also the way your spirit comes to the earth. But no, I do not believe in any form of patriarchy, so I believe that men and women are different, but men and women are equal. I believe that the man needs to know how to hold the baby, how to nurture the baby. There was a period when my husband was in school and I was working, to support our family. And he combed Tashia's hair. He didn't do a good job, but he did try to comb Tashia's hair. So I believe that you do what is necessary. You know what I mean? We had a teacher that we lost. I did not fire this man, right? I probably would have fired him, but we lost the teacher because I told him, no, girls have to be able to drum. You cannot tell a girl she cannot drum, right? So when the young ladies at our school hit puberty, he would no longer have them drum. But some of those young women, like Sister Omelika, Sister Zuri in our community, some of those women, young women, were called to drum. So he felt like I was calling him a sexist. I never said that, but that is what I was calling him. But I never said that. So he quit. So at Quilombo, you cannot put limits on girls and boys just because they were born biologically a certain way. Now, see, this patriarchal thing is really scary because we're taught patriarchy by our mother and father, right? We're taught racism by the outside world, but patriarchy by our mothers and fathers. So there's an intimacy to it, you know, but women, the women that are listening, do whatever the Creator has put in your heart to do. Follow your destiny, follow your Ori, and don't let any man or anyone stop you from what the Creator has put in your heart. And men, let me just tell you about my man. Now, my man is not perfect, okay? And I am not perfect. But it really helps when you belong to a revolutionary organization. So our organization takes a stance against patriarchy. We take a stance against sexist oppression. So I see my husband, you know, struggling, fighting against being a complete patriarchy, a patriarch. And then he called me on my stuff. Because what am I? I'm a colonized African woman who is fighting to be free. So that means that old cracker lives in my head, right? And so we keep each other in check. So our marriage and our families can be revolutionary. And hopefully I have taught my daughter and my son that, you know, sisters, if a man calls you a bitch, he probably don't need to be your man. Unless he's going to go to therapy. If a man hits you one time, you need to leave because eventually he's going to start whooping your ass. All right. I didn't ask you, is it okay to say bad words on the show?
Mama, I don't even know why you even going to ask me.
You ever hear this man speak?
Hey, no, I was standing behind her one time. She didn't know I was behind her. She was cussing like a sailor. I had to tiptoe away. I'm like, oh, shit. So yeah, I knew who I was bringing on here with.
Not after you a whole paragraph of curse words. I'm like, oh, is it okay?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, this punk mother.
Yeah, but my husband, my comrades, you know, they fight against patriarchy. But let me say that to you. That was a difficult struggle. When we decided that we were going to fight against sexist oppression, it was going to be a part of our line. So when we started talking about free to land, right? We're going to talk about free to land. We're also going to talk about eliminating sexist oppression. People didn't want to hear that. And it wasn't just the brothers. Women didn't want to hear it either, right? But the Creator did not make us to be subservient to anyone. Anyone. Listen, I've been married 44 years. Do not be afraid to fight for your marriage. And you cannot fight for your marriage if you feel oppressed in it. Love makes you feel free. It makes you feel whole. It makes you feel like you can do more. That's what you want, sisters. A brother that's strong enough to let you be a powerful woman.
And I know Baba AK will fight for you because he asked me the other day, he said, what you gonna be doing with my wife at 8 o'clock in the morning? Hey man, I don't even know.
He just talking.
I don't know. He looked like he stood real erect. I thought he had a bad back, but he proved me wrong the other day.
That man, he don't have a jealous bone in his body. If he does, he hides.
I think I dropped my voice an octave. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing with her 8 in the morning. I was trying to act tough, but it didn't come out right.
Yeah, no, he's a very confident kind of dude. You know what I mean?
I already know. I saw his pictures back in the day. You know what I'm saying? I know he's Suave Bole. Shout out to Baba AK.
Shout out to Baba AK.
You know,
that's right.
And definitely appreciate you know, the power that you are bringing, and I'm definitely serious. We need this energy regularly because it's what's missing on these internet streets. And I think that unfortunately, the one thing that I could say about you all because of the fact that, keeping it a buck or 100, of course, we bump heads, we gonna bump heads. That's what struggle is. But the thing I respect about you all, your organization, so on and so forth, is the consistency. And the one thing that I learned in movement is that there comes a time when it's so bad out here that you look out and you are forced to respect those who are still in the fight. Yes. You got people that have been in and out, you know what I'm saying? They playing double dutch, you know what I'm saying, jumping in and out. You got folks who come in for a check. You got folks that come in for, some props, so on and so forth. But when you do this thing through ups and downs, through storms and through the sunshine, and whether it's an award or whether it's a sword, you know what I mean? That right there, like I said, to me, I have nothing but tremendous respect for not only your work ethic, but the consistency itself, because of the fact consistency is rare in these times, because you got folks that, one day they this, one day they that, you don't know what they are. To point out what a fool was talking about, folks are more concerned with the label than the content. Yes. And I think that you can shake any of us out and you'll see content. Whatever the label is, we don't have to be on the same page, but we damn sure gotta be in the same book. You know what I mean? And I'm grateful for you all, and I mean that. And whenever you all have anything coming up, please let us know. And with that in mind, I know you all have to go, and I was inviting you on for a particular reason, to talk about something specific. Of course, we ain't gonna just have you come on and say we got this event coming up and that's it, and y'all gonna leave. What type of man would I be? You know what I'm saying? Exercise my gender inequality. What kind of man would I be?
But before you transition into that, I did want to just emphasize the importance of the work that you all are doing. I tremendously appreciate you developing and establishing African-centered schools, because it is a battle. It's always been a battle for the African mind. And I spoke about even my research. One of the things that I noticed with colonization, there is the establishment of a miseducation system to be able to indoctrinate the children to serve the interests of the colonizers. And so on the continent of Africa, they were establishing schools, and it was a lot more difficult, because when they were miseducating the children would go back to their communities. And so it was difficult for them to indoctrinate them, because they would go to the schools, but they'd still be immersed in their culture. And so what they started to do was set up boarding schools over in Africa, so that they can keep the children away from their people. So in the Americas, it was a lot easier, because that continuity was kind of discontinued, where it was, you get it, so they were disconnected from family, just split and separated from their family. So those traditions and everything, it was easy to sort of just miseducate them and brainwash them to be able to serve the colony a lot easier. Even, when you look at the indigenous people in this land, there's history of the colonizer abducting the children and forcing them into these schools. So I say that to say, important, that your work is doing is very important. And I hope more of our people begin to support the work that you are doing, because this is front line. This is to me, it's the most important job, because not knowing your own history, that is very detrimental to our existence. Dr. Bobby Wright talks about menticide, right? So I would say, for those people who are looking, because some people raise, I don't know, millions or whatever dollars, and this is no attack on anybody and what they're doing, because they recognize the importance, right, of the education. But for the people who are all those people who donated all of that money, we have schools established already. If you really are concerned and you really support African-centered education, and look for those schools that exist, and so we can build and expand what we already have. So I just wanted to make that point before you guys get into what's happening. Yeah.
Ashe.
Ashe, oh.
Yes.
Tashia, you want to take it in terms of talking about
Come on, educate to liberate. So we
tell
are
people how to donate.
right? We are here today because we've come together as a collective to raise funds together, right? I like to frame that the public school gets about $18,000, $20,000 per head. Your average private school is charging somewhere about $25,000 a child. On the high end, they might be charging $40,000 plus per child, right? So they're making money to make their institutions run. As African-centered schools, we are trying to take as many children as humanly possible, and money can't be the reason why, right? We're doing it because movement, right? And so the resources aren't there. Our parents don't have that tuition to pay, right? Not even, maybe a few on the high end, but not really, right? And so it is only because we fundraise, it is only because community donates that our schools can exist, can continue, so that we can give quality education for these children, so that we can have brick and mortar for them, so that we can give them materials and resources and all the things, right? And so Educate to Liberate is how we are coming together to fundraise for our institutions collectively. So it's educate to liberate.online. And today we are having an event at Porter Sanford III in Decatur, Georgia, right? Right off of Candler Road. Right off of Snapfinger over by Candler Road. Porter Sanford III, we will have Educate to Liberate from 6 to 10. And we'll have a small documentary, right, about Quilombo and our 20-year journey. And so this year we celebrate 20 years. So you come in, you'll see the documentary about Quilombo, but proceeds for this event go to all 3 of our schools, right? So you're helping to support a whole network of liberation education, right? So again, that's Educate to Liberate .online. Check it out. That's my baby there in the middle. He go to TSK now, right? Educate to Liberate .online. So come purchase a ticket or just donate, right? If you don't live in Atlanta, we will be streaming on MLK Day. It's how we're celebrating Martin Luther King Day in 2026. So if you're not in Atlanta, you can still participate. But if you are in Atlanta and you are free this evening, if you're not free, change your plans, right? And come out and support us. Support this movement that will change education for our children. Right? That'll help them to be who we need them to be so that our people can genuinely experience liberation in this space and abroad. Ashe.
Listen, we need her to fundraise for us, but go ahead.
And I just wanted to add some of the things that Tashia did not mention. There's a silent auction that will be happening. We have world-renowned artists that are participating. World-renowned photographer Jim Alexander.
We
have artwork, tapestries from Baba Zaki.
Zaki, let me stop being the cheering.
Here.
These are my favorite artists.
Yes. We have different donations that have come from different places in parts of Africa that will be part of this silent auction. And one of the special things that, I'm excited about, because it's the youth, we have about 9 pieces of our youth. Children from each of one of our schools will have artwork that will be part of the silent auction. So this is, it's to encourage for our children to become a Jim Alexander or a Kenneth Zaki. We have to include them in these processes, right? So we have to get them excited about sharing their art, sharing their talent, their creativity, their mind. And so I'm happy that we have added that to the scene. We'll have refreshments. So if you're hungry for a big meal, please eat prior. But come ready to snack, though. If you want to snack, come and snack with us, right? But definitely come ready to support. If you have it right now, go buy 10 tickets. If you can't make it, donate those 10 tickets. Put on in your inbox, I'm donating these tickets for whomever you seem to want to invite. Because our goal is, yes, to raise the money, but also to have people to come and sit in the seats, as Mama Aminata likes to remind us, so that they can actually see it. Because we could sell tickets all day and have an empty arena from people donating, but people still have to see and witness what is being happening. And then, of course, we'll have vendors, and then every school will have an information table so that you can go walk away and collect information from all of us so that you can share all of our information And Educate to Liberate is not just a 1 or 2 time thing a year. This is all year long. Educate to Liberate. We're a collaboration. Even within our separate schools, we're a collaboration. So that means we're continuously doing this all year. Tashia mentioned the virtual screening, but we'll have a gala coming up in March, and we'll be having a special price for those tickets tonight as well. So come. If you bought a ticket for tonight, you will get a special fee for the gala.
Yeah.
We can't tell you what that is unless you show up and buy a ticket. So what?
I'm at to pull up.
Online. All right.
You said, you told me not to eat and just come hungry.
No, I didn't say
I mean, we will have some vittles. We'll have fruit and cheese trays and hummus and
but I said if you're looking for dinner.
Oh, okay. Don't come hungry. Okay.
Yeah. Can I challenge people to do something?
Come hungry for education.
Period.
I want to challenge you to look at your bank account, your bank statement, and I want you to see how often do you donate to an African-centered school? How often do you donate to a revolutionary organization? Because the way you spend your money, that's really what you believe.
So Ikemba, you heard they say Ikemba? So Ikemba, going to Magic City is not revolutionary, Ikemba. I'm trying to tell you, that's my brother. My bad. Okay.
First of all, I live in Philadelphia.
How you know where it's at, brother? But anyway.
Tashia, what's Brother Kedrick's name? The Kedrick's brother, that's the art pieces. Okay, because we also have another artist that has pottery, and I mean he's very well known, and he's donating his art too.
Nice.
No doubt.
Can't remember his name.
And this folks can donate at this website year round. You're saying?
Yeah.
Okay, so for our audience, let's make sure that we get into the mode of donating to educatedeliberate.online. Yeah. I'm happy that you all are doing this here, because one of the things that we have done in the past is we would go to different cities whenever we were doing lectures, book signings, so on and so forth, and we would donate funds to independent schools in those particular areas. So we want to bring that back into effect. We actually putting together a tour right now with the Last Poet. So we're doing something around political prisoners, but I'm definitely going to look into us making sure that we're supportive with this initiative that you all are putting together. Thank you all for joining us today. Hopefully I'll see you later on today.
Yeah.
And whenever anything's going on.
Hopefully you will. You
will.
She
said you will. Yeah, I got to eat before I get there, so I might be a little late. I'll just message you. But but we gonna be all right though. But definitely appreciate you all joining us. Make sure everyone check us out. Educate to Liberate .online, and as Tashia mentioned, that is in Atlanta. This is an international morning show. We big time over here. Tashia like, just go to Snapfinger Road. They don't know no Snapfinger Road in Paris. But anyway, make sure y'all, if you are in the Atlanta area, check them out and stay on point. We appreciate you all stopping through. This is the Rise Up International Morning Show. We will be back after this quick message. Y'all stay tuned. We got Ikemba on deck. Educate the Liberate .online. Also, Afua, while you on here, your show, when is it coming back to Black Power Media?
Dang.
So they call you out. You here now?
So our show will be back. We will be back. I believe our estimated date to return online is around July for our fathers. We're going to be dropping his book. It's going to be his book opening. July 13th is his birthday, and that's our goal. And then going into Black August, we're going to do a book tour for him.
And the name of your show for folks who haven't been around?
The name of our show is Daughters of the Whirlwind, Seeds of Revolution. So Seeds of Revolution, Daughters of the Whirlwind. Put in either one, you're going to find myself and two of my beautiful sisters.
Check out the archives. There are some real dope shows. But again, you're checking out the Rise Up Morning Show, Rise Up International Morning Show. This is Black Power Media. Thank you, sisters, for coming on, and we will see you later on this evening.
Thank you for having us.
Welfare poets, yeah, massive for this 4th century, yeah, you know, heard. Seen, sight, the sound unheard of massive youth. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Yeah, you hear those war drums? Yeah, just let it breathe. Yeah, you hear those war drums? Yeah, just let it breathe. Yeah, you hear those war drums? Yeah, just let it breathe. Yeah, you hear those war drums? Let it breathe. Let it breathe. Let it breathe. I clutch the microphone, so never fear. Cause Sunny brings atmosphere, breath of life into this battlefield. We call it Barrio Harlem. Gentrifiers is trying to steal like Sunset, South Bronx, and San Juan Hill. Until my homies island side, they hold the San Juan still. The murder of Philly Bento made it oh so real. For young Mike Tenderfoot in the books, chill with crooks till I change my look and focus on what they took from my collective people. Fucking dogs, birth and evil. Me and Ethan learn logistics of acquiring the Desert Eagle. To fight you back and guard me inspired my raps, and Ray told me my shit was dope, so I assumed what I had was crack. And yeah, I hustle hard, we got the flow, so run with us. Just never stepped on our hand, homies eat so they can bundle up when it's cold out. But why pedal dust for a couple bucks to the same knuckle fucks? Getting high since before the Knicks sucked. Totally remember ghetto living older me, not to mention the way my mama sat me down and scolded me when I was out of line. She said that I was born to shine, the last Harlem sun. If your light is dim, then follow mine. I'm from where we all know the post is loco. Used to be where they won't go. Now we got the block they run for. Luxury condos, the trumpet sound that bring the bass like a tuba. Tommy Bungo, local daughters, the God Elias Yoruba. And I run trick plays so we can fool your Regos, Haiti, I go Cuba, Lexington Ave, shuffle to fly right through ya. Harlem maneuvers forever. PR side will slump you up and leave you near the MGR drive. Cause we are live, and before the blood of my veins run dry, you'll believe that a man can fly with wings that are made of fire. Set the wolves on you, the Jamaicans from Nevins, the Trinnies from Sunnyside, all the wops from Pleasant, the whole zoo of gorillas waiting on Lennox. Will the beast will serve you like a snack box on 111th WB. From Kinshasa to Tripoli, I hope that you reading me. I hope I reach you with my God-given ability over illusions and similes and uncanny agility when I'm wielding a guillotine. I'm trying to bring a balance and establish a symmetry before I lay in the cemetery or left behind bars in a state-owned penitentiary. Essentially for trying to free my country from capitalistic dependency. Screaming, mira caballero, que lío. Free Oscar and Avelino, hands on Vieques, move the people like Abisu. And we will reach freedom eventually, as long as you walk on a righteous path. Do the knowledge, don't be afraid cause it's only math. Go to college and don't be ashamed if it doesn't last. It's only class, homie, fail or pass. Keep your books read and straight from the life the Chris led. The BB tanks, conglomerate in the crepe fed. Shine light on brown and black owned businesses. Support your roots and you will grow like photosynthesis. They try to cut us down before you could get to this, so bear witnesses. I snatch your phonies, wood carved necklaces and say peace to the gods and the earth, the kings and the queens, the hustlers and fiends, and all my niggas stuck in between. They hanging on to broken dreams and failed promises. Hard times breed certified hood pharmacists or broken men with no grasp for the politics that keep them the victim. But yo, really it ain't hard to miss. Although it's easy to bitch, so niggas tend to do it. While change is a task and I'm tending to it. It's like a garden, I'm a farmer, man, I'm trying to bloom it. I'm trying to grow it. With this microphone, people, I hold it. Others rapping song, check how I wrote it. I rep the welfare and I am a poet, you can quote it.
No doubt. This is the Rise Up International Morning Show. This is my people, the welfare poets. You know what I mean?
That was fire, man.
Do that thing. You know about the welfare poets?
No.
Okay.
First time. Yeah.
Okay. They from out of New York, spoken word, hip hop. I would suggest, since you're new to them, I wanted you to take it back to 2000. They got a dope album. Their first album, it escapes me right now. But welfare poets. Check them out. Educate to Liberate. What was your thoughts, Ikemba?
Hey, powerful show today, man. I was definitely inspired. Hey, I'm looking at you. I'm like, yo, this is the company you keep, man. You know, you're doing a good job, man. This added some points to.
I'm somebody now, huh? I know a couple people. See how you want to.
Hey, but like I said though, like that's the real work that they're doing. You know, and I feel like our community needs to support, you know, these sisters and the brothers that's doing that work, who are on the front line defending the minds of African people, because we already see all the confusion. You alluded to that in the beginning, and that's all about design. You know, keep us confused, create chaos among us, fighting each other, and that way these colonizers can stay in their position of power, man, and dominance. So, you know, they're battling against that, and it's an uphill battle, you know.
No question. Y'all got to excuse. I know y'all was like, what just happened? But it's all good. This is.
I said, let me keep talking, man.
Yeah. I like how you played it off. You know what I'm saying? You know that's how you could tell when we don't have the proper technicians to be working the boards. But anyway, but definitely what you're saying is, is on point. And I think that, it is beyond necessary for us to continue to push forward. It's refreshing to see, our sister warriors and fellow comrades, just maintain and like you said, and the work that you're doing. Again, I commend you, because we just saw 3 different levels. We saw from the elementary to the high school, you in the university. You know what I mean? It's powerful having, folks in the right place, in the right space, because I know that there are people that are checking us out right now that don't know anything about African-centered schools, because in their areas, in their regions, they might not have it. We have African martial arts here. Shout out to our brother Balogun, African Martial Arts Institute. Not everywhere you can go to learn an African martial art. You know what I mean? Not everywhere you go, you can get African doctors and teachers, attorneys, so on and so forth. So I commend you all because of the fact that you all put our future on the path.
Right. And I need the work that they're doing. Like I need them to continue that work. So when they do reach the level of continuing that, they come into academia, they already have a foundation, because what's happening through this process of miseducating, indoctrinating our children, they come to me and I have to do that work, and it's a lot more difficult for me at this stage. Once they're 18, 19, 20 and they're coming into this classroom, if they don't have if they're confused about their identity and they don't have that foundation, it's going to be I'm going to have to, struggle to even get them to see the history that I'm teaching through the lens of their ancestors. They come in seeing it through the lens of the colonizers. So there's going to be that struggle that I have to deal. But if they're already coming in with that foundation, then we can get the business of nation building, right? Like preparing them for the next level once they graduate, what they should be doing. So it's a difficult job, but I think part of the problem is that we don't understand the design. Like that history, our memory has been erased. So we don't really think about the establishment of the school system, this education system for our children. They don't understand that it's working against their interests. And so it's kind of become normalized, right? When they go into these schools, like this is what we're supposed to go to these schools, learn what's being taught, go to college and go work for the man, quote unquote man.
No, what you're saying is accurate. And so, and that is the importance of platforms like Black Power Media. And I'm saying that because, again, there are folks that are looking you know, who, I mean, there are people I run across that don't even know that African-centered schools exist. That's how insane this whole indoctrination process is. And so, you know, as our brother would say, if you don't know a thing, then it doesn't exist. Because, you know, it's almost like mythology to you. It's almost mythological, you know. So, you know, but, you know, again, I think that as I mentioned in the beginning of the show, we want to dedicate here at Black Power Media, the Rise Up International Morning Show in particular, we want to dedicate at least a day a week. And even if it's not an entire show, we have to highlight an African-centered school. And so to help us do that, because we understand that there are people that are checking us out from around the globe, from across the globe, tag us if you're on social media. Go to our IG, Black Power Media Reloaded. I'm sure I don't have the proper IG in my head, but you know, look for us, look for Black Power Media, tag us, let us know about any independent schools that you know about that we should be highlighting, or email us mediablackpower@gmail.com, mediablackpower@gmail.com, and let us know, because we don't know everything, but we're always interested in highlighting brothers and sisters and you know, African-centered education and you know, everything from businesses to, you know, anything all things that's nation built. So make sure that you continue to, you know, reach out to us, and you know, we like to answer people's demands. Get at us. But Ikemba, we got to run. I got a meeting, you know what I mean, with some of the good people here at Black Power Media. It's been good getting on with you, man. Like I said, I ain't seen you so long, man. I think you had a bald head or a mohawk last time I saw you.
Has it been that long? Wow.
Man, listen, man. Dude came through with the Cornell West. You feel me? I don't even know. Yeah, the metal lock limit last time I saw him. So it's all the curly. It's all good though. You know what I mean? Definitely salute you for that work.
They told me like I do look like a professor now.
I know. That's why I said. That's why I had to highlight it. I was like, wait, I think this guy is a professor. You got the sweater on, the shirt. That ain't the Ikemba I know. I had to double take. I'm like, oh yeah. You know what I'm saying? I'm coming in with I thought our dress code was Scullies and hoodies. I come through it looking crazy. They're like, who is this distinguished derelict? And
I still feel like I was underdressed, man. The sisters came through strong.
Oh man, either listen, man, they came through throwing darts out the gate. I was sitting there like, oh shit.
word, man.
I was like,
that was powerful. Hey, great dynamic, man. I mean, they should have a show themselves, man. You know?
Man, I'm gonna talk to them.
That'd be crazy.
Man, that was a problem, wasn't it? You know what I mean? But,
yeah. Because
definitely, bro.
Who better to talk about African-centered education? Someone that's actually doing the work. You know,
that's actual facts, brother. That's actual facts. But anyway,
raise
man,
resources at the same time. You know, for the school, man. You know, just some ideas going through my head.
Yeah, holler at them. You on the board, trying to get me to do the work. You know what I'm saying? Look at that, man. How we got a board and they always tell me what to do.
Hey, you the inside connect.
That's what it is. I got the juice now. Anyway, definitely appreciate you, brother. We'll be back. This is the Rise Up International Morning Show. Check us out tomorrow. You know what I mean? I think we'll be on tomorrow. If not,
tomorrow's
tomorrow's Friday.
Ijuma and Kiswahili. Ijuma. You know, I've been practicing.
Okay. Ijuma. Yeah. Okay. So I guess maybe that's a derivative. That's maybe where Juma services come from in Islam.
That's a possibility. You know, Arabic has some influence on the Kiswahili language. Some words borrowed.
Look at Ikemba now learned 2 words besides the bad words in Spanish. all the curse words in Spanish. Now all of a sudden he's working on his linguistics. I hear you,
hey, there may be a point that we have a show where all we're doing is speaking Kiswahili.
Hey, well, let's make it happen. We sound like we got a challenge going on here. I'll make sure I'm absent for that show. But anyway, check it out.
No, you got to learn, brother.
I'm going to be on it. I'm on it. I'm ready.
Right.
I'm
That's
ready.
what I want to hear. For sure.
No doubt. Thank you. Rise Up International Morning Show. Ikemba, Kalonji, we out.
All right. Peace.
Peace. I thought we was out. Up. I'm up there messing with the program. How about I go like this?
Sometimes the riot is a quiet one, or the battle is to love yourself and function in society where voices of reason are muted by anxiety, like gaining notoriety is selling your soul. So we tend to go no deeper than the shallow water level, trying to keep us overhead in the face of all the slurs and the stares, mentally frozen, paralyzed by fear of failure and success. So we lock, stock, barrel, running while it's crumbling. All these towers and they're babbling, but the baby's in the bath and the stash under the bed on my head, spinning from the circles and the puppets and the strings that they pull. Then we move. Reactionary warfare never produces winners on the field. Feeble and foolish, what tools and what weapons are we using? We need some new ones. Real revolution, it's real solutions. What we've taken on the ways of the ones who conquer with their guns and religion and division. Got my inner me looking like my enemy. Real revolution, where my inner me really a mirror for the galaxy. New time, brand new paradigms, new contracts to sign. They thought that this would all be televised, though it's happening right before our very eyes. It's on the inside, with their guns cocked. When that rock drops, standing on the rooftop, praying that the mountaintop can live inside the valley. People tell me the reward is somewhere off in heaven, like heaven's only in the sky, like chariots are swinging, like God is something separate from yourself, from your wealth, from your lover, from your neighbor. Oh, your savior is coming in your own name, coming with the face the same. Real revolution, it's real solutions. Where we've taken on the ways of the ones who conquer with their guns and religion and division. Got my inner me looking like my enemy. Real revolution, where my enemy is really a mirror for the galaxy.